How y'all doing out there today? When you look at merchandise and you look at any type of creative art, you got to realize that, there are a lot of people in the world who create. A lot of actors, producers, songwriters, singers, and we talk about this concept called the music business, but it's typically just the creative business, putting work out. I call myself the merch king because I learned early on that you have to have products tied to whatever it is that you do, because people consume products, they pay for them. It's a lesson I learned early on watching some of my favorite hip hop legends too. No Limit, like if you look at what they was doing early on, it was it's profound to see black-owned, black-led record label. You know what I'm saying? This is in the 90s. This is the 90s, right? Early 90s, and down south music didn't exist. So to see Master P kind of elevate himself up, he was never a street rapper because P was older, right? But to see him transition from that to consumer packaged goods industry to have products on shelves, Master P really is just a trendsetter, a guy who paving the way before anybody even recognizes that this is the way. Consumer packaged goods, it's a component in business where not everything that's retail is a consumer packaged goods, right? So we typically think of things you consume regularly, but what I like to focus on around CPG is it easy to produce, package, ship, right, and get it to where it needs to be. For example, like if you make something every day, it's highly perishable and you gotta sell it right then, that's not a packaged good, right? That's more like a restaurant style. So I see CPG as really being the world where consumers interact with your product when you're not there. I think Dash is legendary. He's got an interesting background in that, he's not a street dude. He didn't come up in the hood, and so he has a mindset that I often think it's a little bit more elevated than the people around him because he's able to focus on business first and foremost. I'm a Dame Dash fan because I was a Rockefeller fan. I'm a Jay-Z fan. I like that whole thing that they put together because, again, we're going back to early 90s when for black men there was very little opportunity. You couldn't go and say, I'm going to start a record label. You certainly couldn't go out and say, I'm going to go to the top of the music industry alone. But they built that. They built that in Rockefeller. And then whatever Hove was in terms of rapping, you knew that on the back end, and it wasn't just Dame. I have to mention Hoffa as well because they created a environment to where not just Rockefeller, what's the brand? What's the clothing brand? Sean John.
No, Rockaware.
Rockaware, there we go. When did Sean John drop?
That's Diddy.
Diddy, I'm all off then. So Rockaware, this is probably 94 to 96. It's about the same time that a lot of the other brands, the Fubus, early 2000s. And it was like they made transitions beyond hip hop very quickly. Now, I don't necessarily consider clothing to be CPG. Fashion has a different marketplace that's not the same as CPG. With CPG, these products are being turned over, right, rather frequently. Something that you buy one time and you off of it, it's not that. Let's say you got a really tight brand, you got Dope Coffee, and I want to wear Dope Coffee on me. I buy a t-shirt, I could wash and wear that shirt weekly, right? And so it's a good thing to sell that because when I got a Dope Coffee hoodie sold or a Dope Coffee t-shirt sold, it's a walking billboard, which will advertise for you, bring you new customers and new fans all the time. So that's a good thing. But when I have a product, again, so I got the spinach bag right here. So this is a $25 bag of coffee, right? And so when you really think about what does that mean, average person is going to drink this bag of coffee over the course of a week or two. At $25, it means that once it's gone, they got to replenish it. And that's something that we really talk about, like what's your replenish rate? On a t-shirt, right, it's not till I destroy the t-shirt or don't want it or want a new t-shirt. So you got to think about like what's the life cycle of the product that you sell so that the person will come back to you. Like when it comes to like coffee for us as well, we got something that could go the distance. It can go nationwide. It can go all over the globe. And these people they're going to want to come back to you. So yeah, that's really why I say consumer packaged goods over retail, or excuse me, just over clothing. You know what I'm saying? Because clothing is hotter, right? Clothing, folks tend to go, ooh, like they like it more and they get excited about it. But a product that people need, you feel me? It's gonna go the distance. When I was working on my marketing plan for the art and for the coffee, if you look at, well, one of the concepts that we talk about on how you get anything out is the funnel, right? How do you get, and if you think about a funnel, like a funnel used in the kitchen or to change your oil, you gotta get stuff to come in the top, right? So they can finally make their way down into like whatever it is that you want them to do. And so for me, I focus on realdope.coffee. So that's my website. It's where we sell our products, our merch, our music. You can get everything there. And so from there you go, well, if that's the bottom of the funnel, how do I get everybody into it? So we already got our standard coffee model where we advertising out here in the coffee world. Do you like coffee? Come drink this coffee. But we also do hip hop. And so when you start looking at hip hop and you look at the DSPs, the digital streaming platforms that are out there, a lot of them are locked down. Take Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal. You can't interact with those. But when it comes to SoundCloud, right? I, as a business owner, as an artist founder, wanting to get people to realdope.coffee, I can put the link www.realdope.coffee in my song, where people can click on it and go straight to the product. So I want you to think about SoundCloud versus Spotify. Sure, like you may be able to go out there on Spotify and get more streams, but 10,000 streams on Spotify and they can never interact with you versus 100 where they could potentially click that link and make their way to the website. I'm gonna go with the open platform any day of the week. I think SoundCloud has the best model for any artist like who isn't currently engaged in the music industry. Like if 2 years ago you was already in the music industry, you probably got to stay where you are because you don't really have what it takes to come over here. But if you're just starting right now, you got to think, do I want to be a famous rapper, singer, producer, or do I want to get paid for my work? Those are two different things. I think the best way to get your art and your product out to the folks at SoundCloud. As an artist, you got to analyze who you are and what you're capable of, right? Not everyone is capable of selling coffee or putting some type of special product together. So you need to really look at yourself and go, all right, what am I passionate in? What am I interested in? Because the best advice that I really could give is to take the two things that you like and combine them together. So for example, let's just say you do country music and you like woodworking, right? If I was a country music woodworker, I would combine them together to have Country Boys custom wood product. I don't know. I don't do woodworking like that, but it doesn't matter what it is. If you combine them together, what you're going to find is that like no one who is doing it the old way is going to be competing with you. And if I could use another example, the one that really threw me for the loop, when I say follow Master P, like I mean when I like follow Master P. So black folks from the South selling ramen noodles. You feel me? Selling ramen in packages with Boosie Badass on the front of it. It's like, that's not the typical, right? Like that's not, I mean, that's so far, like when I saw Rap Snacks, but when I seen chips, I was like, that shit make a lot. I seen the noodles, this shit fucked my head. I was scrolling, I stopped. I went past it, then I went back up to, I was like, no way. You know how many fucking ramen noodles?
Yeah, bro, I get it.
Yeah, I'm just like, whoa, I mean.
It's not corny anymore.
It's not corny. It used to be corny. And so if I had to give advice too, as an artist, you should start there. You should start at the point of what used to be don't exist no more. When I was coming up, you know, you got to think, I was selling clothes and sneakers and it still was corny. You see what I'm saying? Like, because what it was is that folks was thinking if you are an artist, well, why you ain't making $1 million off your music? But what they don't get is ain't nobody making $1 million off their music. Like even the multi-platinums, when they do all the math, that record may gross $15 million. But who's making the money? When you let it all trickle out, it look like any other business, bro. Places got to pay rent, electricity, delivery. Everybody got standard business costs, standard operating costs. So there's a tendency for there not to be anything left over. But if you go that consumer packaged goods route and you combine something that you got an interest in, I think it's a winning combination. My background was coming out the coffee shop. So I was just writing this the other day because I was working on a pitch deck. I used to open the shop up every morning. I would go in about 5:30. I had speakers on the outside, a little amp and shit. Boom, 90s hip hop station. You know what I'm saying? That shit would be cranky because ain't nobody coming through at 5:30 anyway. But that was my first intro. Would be like Run DMC at the coffee shop because that was just subtle enough back then. I did get around to playing NWA. You know what I'm saying? And I saw even in that conservative crowd, they still was going for it because it was hip hop. I was like, oh shit, coffee and hip hop, and that just stuck with me. Didn't pull it off initially, but then we got it to the point where we could smash all that shit together. Yeah, I think we the best representation of the culture. You know, I ain't throwing no shade at nobody, but I study the market. I study the whole industry. I look and see what's out there in terms of what are these black hip-hop based brands that are representing the culture. And it's a couple out there, and they doing well. I think Dope Coffee is the best because the ideas are a lot the same, right? They said they know it's not a lot of new ideas under the sun, but who's the founder of what they're doing, right? And that's going to be the difference. And so, you know, if I had to give any little quick tip about it, it's like you can only go as far as you're capable of, and a lot of folks don't seem to understand that. Now, you ain't limited by your capability at birth, but you got to think about it. If you don't pick up some skills and some additional resources and figure more things out, you're gonna have a ceiling, right? No matter what level of passion that you have about any of this stuff. So that's what I say. If you wanna learn more about products, hey, go read more about products. The consumer packaged goods, well, this thing been around since the early 1900s. So we started manufacturing products. If you wanna know more about distribution, go read about distribution. All of these things that sometimes we struggle with and thinking that they're difficult to do, they actually very simple. Look, I got big shit popping. I was talking to my cousin Stace the other night, and then I started realizing that once again, my hip-hop career is coming to an end. Why? Because I got new talent coming into the label. I got big moves. I got major moves. Trying to take this Carolina hip-hop crown, and bring it to Winston-Salem, okay? We got a vibrant hip-hop culture in North Carolina, from Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Fayetteville, but it's time to put Winston-Salem on the map. We're going to do that by first moving Dope Coffee HQ to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Second, we're going to activate the local hip-hop scene in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're coming for the fucking takeover. It's as simple as that. I ain't going to drop no names yet, but I got the fire coming. I got the heat coming. If somebody's going to be talked about, it's going to be us. All right, yo. Look, man, it's your boy Creative Mike the Rapper with Dope Coffee Music. Look, I want y'all to go check out my Spinach album. It's on SoundCloud. Just hit about 100,000 streams and climbing. #1 independent music label in the game. Check me out on IG at Creative Mike the Rapper. Go hit me on my website at www.creativemiketherapper.com. And if you're trying to shop coffee with the culture, check us out at www.realdope.coffee. I appreciate y'all.